Who is Seth Godin? Few individuals have captured the zeitgeist of the early 21st century marketing as much as the entrepreneur and author Seth Godin. Author of 23 books, 19 of which have gone on to become international bestsellers, he has become highly influential within the business and marketing world since the 1990s. In particular, his works The Linchpin, The Purple Cow, Tribes, and This Is Marketing have become seminal texts in the world of modern marketing, while his blog, Seth's.blog, has become one of the most visited and read blogs in the world, with over 500,000 visitors every month. Two startups of Godin's, Squeedo and Yoyodyne, have been built into multi-million-dollar organizations. As a consequence of all this, Godin was inducted into the American Marketing Association's Marketing Hall of Fame in 2018. Viewers may wonder what Godin's particular appeal is. Simply put, his ideas have captured the imagination of his audience, consumers in general, and the marketing community more broadly. He puts forth methods and concepts that have generally not been discussed before. The most important of these, without question, is his emphasis on standing out in front of the crowd. As Godin says, "In a crowded marketplace, fitting in is a failure. In a busy marketplace, not standing out is the same as being invisible." This makes considerable sense. After all, in a world where every product is available in numerous different shapes, sizes, styles, and budgets, the only way to succeed is to separate yourself from the crowd. Godin has come up with a notable way of describing this in his book, The Purple Cow. Here he contrasts the idea of a purple cow with the more popular concept of the black sheep. Godin's idea is that in order to be successful, one not only needs to make their product stand out like a black sheep, but exceptionally so like a purple cow. Have a product that makes people go, wow. He also stresses the idea of being a rebel in marketing and business. Business is full of people who have great ideas, but often do not translate into success. Godin's belief is that our ideas can sometimes become stymied by having to fit within the preconceived framework of a company, institution, or group. Accordingly, he argues that people need to be rebels and forge their own path in business to make their ideas a reality before they get shoehorned into a one-size-fits-all business model. As such, he is in favor of taking risks, noting that great success is never built off playing it safe. All of this amounts to a quiet confidence. Those who see Godin speak live or perform at workshops and conferences will notice that he is generally a calm and collected figure, certainly not ultra-energetic, as so many marketing gurus will claim you need to be. He never raises his voice or fights for attention because he knows that his ideas will do the talking for him. What is marketing? What is marketing? This may seem like a question with a straightforward answer, but marketing actually means many different things to many different people. For some, it is the simple act of telling as many people as possible about the product or service you are offering. For others, it's about trying to coerce people into buying that product or service, regardless of whether or not they might even need it. For Seth Godin, marketing is more altruistic and holistic. Godin states that marketing is the generous act of helping someone solve a problem. Their problem? Marketing helps others become who they seek to become. In this book, This Is Marketing, You Can't Be Seen Until You Learn to See, published in 2018, Godin asserts that the art of marketing consists in identifying a need which a consumer has that the consumer themselves may not even realize is there, and then presenting a product which fulfills that need. From this perspective, the basic purpose of marketing is to inspire change, and marketing is ineffective if it does not bring about a constructive and positive change in an individual's life. Godin's outlook on marketing looks beyond the traditional view of marketing as being confined to selling physical products. His views on marketing include the promotion of services and even ideologies. Moreover, in Godin's view, marketing does not necessarily even need to involve a monetary transaction. Money might be involved, but it is not always the end goal. Indeed, traditional marketing involving a monetary transaction might even be a negative thing in Godin's view if the intention of it is to force a product on someone who does not need it to help their life. Good marketing, for Godin, looks beyond this more traditional approach to a more positive outcome where marketing becomes about understanding the consumer and their worldview, with the ultimate goal of better catering to them and their needs in an effective manner. Thus, for Godin, marketing is always focused on building trust, establishing effective communication with the customer, and earning permission to contact them. The privacy of the customer is always sacrosanct, and this can never be compromised. From Godin's point of view, every aspect of our lives is infiltrated in one way or another by marketing, whether through the television shows which we watch or from the political parties which we choose to support. When we choose to follow somebody or something through each of these mediums, it is the result of effective and successful marketing. If you are persuaded by someone to take action on a certain issue, you're using marketing techniques. If you're looking for votes at a city council meeting or looking for a promotion at work, you are applying marketing methods to one degree or another in order to further your goals. The same applies when you're writing copy on your website, taking a selfie photo to post on your social media accounts, or trying to talk your way out of getting a speeding ticket. In many ways, we are always marketing, whether consciously or unconsciously. The purple cow. What is a purple cow? The concept is the brainchild of Seth Godin and was best articulated in his best-selling 2003 book, The Purple Cow: Transform Your Business by Being Remarkable, which went on to go through 23 print editions in the first 2 years alone, selling more than 150,000 copies in that same period. Godin's concept is simple, but effective. He asks readers to imagine they are surveying a vast field full of cows grazing. Viewers might appreciate this scene out in nature, but it is unlikely that any of the individual cows will stand out from the crowd or leave an impression on the viewer's mind. Now, imagine all of a sudden you catch sight of a purple cow. This cow would certainly grab your attention. In fact, you would want to investigate it further to find out how the cow had come to be purple. Godin's argument is that in business and marketing, we need to have products that are the equivalent of the purple cow in a field full of normal black, brown, and white cows. In a market that is bombarding customers with all kinds of products in a manner of shapes, sizes, colors, and costs, to be successful, one needs to stand out. The goal is to create a product or service which makes people stop and take notice, much like one would if they set eyes on a purple cow in the middle of a herd of normal colored cattle. Godin is not suggesting being controversial just for the sake of doing so. After all, if you try to market something like heeled Uggs or transparent clothes, you might well generate attention, much like the purple cow, but no one is going to buy your product, unless it is a one-off purchase for the purpose of a practical joke. Rather, Godin is arguing that you need to have a product that stands out and catches people's attention, but one which is also a great product, which people will want to buy and become repeat customers of. This concept is highly applicable to the world of modern marketing. Every day, we are bombarded by marketing, from television commercials and internet advertisements to billboards and signs. We are exposed to these adverts at such high frequency that we have learned to tune them out unless they stand out like a purple cow in a field of black and white ones. But some cut across our attentions and grab them for one reason or another, whether it is a striking image, a thought-provoking slogan, or a wholly novel concept. These are all examples of purple cows. Thus, what Godin has preached in The Purple Cow is that in order to be successful, you need to stand out and make your product unique. This requires creativity, innovation, and thinking which pushes the boundaries. But with the right application of these, any product can become a purple cow in a field full of boring black and white cows. Linchpin. Are you indispensable? Are you indispensable no matter what field of endeavor you are working and living in? Understanding the value of making yourself indispensable and learning how to do so is the focus of Seth Godin's 2010 book, Linchpin. Are You Indispensable? In this work, Godin sets out to explain what he believes makes a person indispensable, and also to explain that the way to make yourself indispensable is by rejecting the idea of blending in. In Godin's view, society conditions people to conform to certain accepted modes of behavior. But when we blend in, we are doing the very opposite of making ourselves indispensable, because we're trying to be just like everybody else. The way to make yourself indispensable from this perspective is to break free from the societal boundaries we've been pigeonholed into and make yourself indispensable through your unique attributes. Hence, for Godin, we should not be aiming to make ourselves average or ordinary, but trying to become like a linchpin, someone who is different, a person who hasn't lost their own individuality and is truly capable of creating art. By art here, Godin does not mean the kind of art we paint or sculpt, but rather the art we produce when we can do or produce something which no one else can do in quite the same way. The linchpin is someone who perfects their abilities in a certain sphere to the extent that they become indispensable. Godin's view on being a linchpin and making yourself indispensable are best expressed in his own words. The job is what you do when you are told what to do. The job is showing up at the factory, following instructions, meeting spec, and being managed. Someone can always do your job a little better or faster or cheaper than you can. The job might be difficult. It might require skill, but it's a job. Your art is what you do when no one can tell you exactly how to do it. Your art is the act of taking responsibility, challenging the status quo, and changing people. So to be a linchpin is to be such a vital part of an organization that the company or business you work for would no longer be able to operate as well as it can without your contribution and input. Much like a wheel cannot fully function without the linchpin of it. Becoming indispensable will not happen without effort. As Godin explains, there are a number of key qualities which a person needs to acquire in order to become an indispensable linchpin. You need to be creative and innovative, but most of all, a person needs to be a hard worker with a passion to succeed. But when you reach the point of being a linchpin, you will become indispensable in your field of endeavors. The benefits of that will be immense. What matters is the story you tell. Have you ever wondered what makes a designer dress so expensive? Many high-end dresses and products are made with fabrics and materials which are very similar to those employed in your average clothes or products one would find in a mid-range clothing shop. In many instances, a Gucci dress or a Givenchy suit is made with raw materials that are not so expensive. So why are the products which companies like these sell so much more expensive? The answer, according to marketing guru Seth Godin, lies in the story they are telling. In 2018, Godin published the latest in a long line of best-selling marketing books. This is marketing. You can't be seen until you learn to see. Here, Godin argues that the intelligent marketer convinces his consumers that the product that she or he is providing is somehow better and more unique than the others on the market by telling a story about that product. In the end, the product might differ little from other similar ones that are available to purchase, but the effective marketer is able to spin a tale about the brand and convince the consumer that his or her product is special. If he or she convinces enough people that this is the case, then eventually you'll have an industry-leading brand. As Godin says, stories make it easier to understand the world. Stories are the only way we know to spread an idea. Marketers didn't invent storytelling, they just perfected it. Every institution, every organization, every marketer uses this tactic of telling a story in order to make people believe that their product is the best one from among the infinite number of choices presented to them in the modern-day marketplace. Modern marketing strategies are most successful when marketers are able to convince people of their story, to have them embrace it, ultimately because it fits into the customer's worldview and those of their family, friends, and peers. The strategy is unsuccessful if the story told by the marketer is inauthentic or so far-fetched that it comes across as an outright lie. The latter point is important. Godin argues that when marketers stretch storytelling to the point of dealing in untruths, they are behaving unethically and making the world a worse place. Consequently, the marketer is always ethically obliged to tell their story in a responsible fashion. We can see the wisdom of Godin's prescriptions here in many recent examples from the business world. There are no shortage of examples whereby selfish marketers, businessmen, institute, and politicians have created problems in their efforts to shape a unique story in order to profit off of it. Thus, the thing to bear in mind is that one story has to be accurate, ethical, and authentic. When you have a story like that, you will stop having a run-of-the-mill product and start having a successful brand. Building trust. Trust, the marketing guru Seth Godin has suggested, is as scarce as attention. By this he means that establishing trust with your customers is just as important as grabbing a potential customer's attention. In the modern era, we are all familiar with online shopping and the impersonal nature of online business. There are tens of thousands of companies selling their goods online for us to choose to buy products from as we want or need them, be it clothes, groceries, services, or data. But what all these companies have in common is the lack of a personal interaction. So how then does an online company build trust with a customer, the better to capture their business and retain it? Why is it that among the vast arrays of shops and sellers that we pick the ones we do? There are many ways to build trust in the modern world of business. Key here is quality of service. Most businesses make their money off of repeat business. If they offer a good quality product and deliver it well, customers will come back for more, period. Similarly, when you are buying from new sellers, you choose one whom you feel like you can trust. You check their page, their reviews, their description and prices, and come to a conclusion on whether or not they can be trusted. A seller that provides a fulsome description of their product is more likely to establish trust with potential customers. In one of his most recent books, This is Marketing, You Can't Be Seen Until You Learn to See, Godin goes into specific detail on the 3 different states business people can find themselves in, depending on how much they trust they can elicit from their customers and potential customers. The first state people can find themselves in on the trust spectrum, according to Godin, is being ignored. Nobody wants to be here. As a marketer, if you are being ignored, it means you are not trusted. The chances of thriving in this state are extremely low. The second state is where you are sneaking around. If you're sneaking around, then you are pretending to be someone you are not. This may get you the attention of the customers that you so much desire, but as soon as they realize that the product does not live up to how you've advertised it, then the facade will be exposed. Then the marketer will find him or herself in a worse position than when he or she was simply ignored, with bad reviews and comments which can't be easily gotten rid of. The third state, and undoubtedly where you want to be as a marketer or business person, is to be trusted. If you're trusted, not only will you grab the attention of customers, but you will find you have many repeat customers. The lesson then, as Godin outlines it, is to build trust and success will follow. Choosing your customers. Imagine you are a food truck owner who sells snacks at lunchtime. Now imagine you have a choice of 2 venues to ply your trade. One is a car park next to an event center, which usually has gigs on in the evenings and the occasional daytime conference. The other is next to both a residential housing estate and a school. Which one would you choose? This isn't really a difficult decision. A residential area and school offer a continuous lunchtime trade, while an event center is restricted to periods when events are actually being held. But choosing your customers is a critical part of marketing and business. As Seth Godin, the influential marketing guru, has noted, oftentimes the worst mistake marketers make is that they don't select their customers and failed to see how critical it is to do so. Godin suggests that failing to select your customers is like sailing the oceans without a destination in mind. You would be lost in a sea of possibilities, unable to succeed. Many high-end brands are successful because they know who their customers are, and they have tailored their marketing to capture their business. Sephora, for example, is a makeup brand that mainly targets young women. They bring products to the market that would appeal to them and cater to their needs. By focusing on a specific demographic, they are able to achieve success. Similarly, Rolex has managed to thrive as a manufacturer of high-end wristwatches during an age when less and less individuals are wearing watches, by continuing to appeal to a demographic who want a high-end timepiece. Perhaps the best example of this is Apple. Apple's computers are generally considerably more expensive than those sold by PC manufacturers such as Dell, HP, Acer, or Toshiba. But Apple have a clear idea who their customers are, and they have appealed to them for decades by offering an alternative operating system and a higher spec of computer. It doesn't appeal to everyone, but it appeals to enough people that Apple has been one of the most successful companies in the past 30 years. Godin is clear about this in one of his recent books. In This Is Marketing, You Can't Be Seen Until You Learn to See, published in 2018, Godin writes, "It doesn't make any sense to make a key and then run around looking for a lock to open. The only productive solution is to find a lock and then fashion a key. Once you've selected your audience or consumers, the rest of the stages of your products you design and make in the future, the advertising you make to sell your products, and even the people you hire will all become more focused and successful once you have a clear idea of who your customers are and what they want." Freelancing. The freelancing sector is booming right now. Long ago, freelancers were local professionals who worked in towns and cities, advertised locally, and had a loyal customer base drawn from their city, town, or region. But now the world of freelancing has changed immeasurably. The internet and the emergence of freelancing platforms such as Fiverr, Upwork, and Freelancer have allowed freelancers to advertise their services to tens of millions of potential customers and do business with businesses and individuals from all over the world. Moreover, the outsourcing of many kinds of work which publishing firms, softwares, companies, and many other businesses used to have in-house staff do has greatly expanded the market for freelancers. Many are drawn to freelancing, citing the flexibility involved and the benefits of being self-employed. But freelancing is not without its hurdles. The same factors that have expanded the freelancing sector have also made it a highly competitive way to make a living. There are millions of freelancers out there, and in some fields, one will find no shortage of practitioners offering very similar services on platforms like Fiverr and Upwork. The question then is, how does one stand out from the crowd? How does one become a super successful freelancer and make not just a solid living, but a great living? For Seth Godin, the influential marketing guru and a highly successful freelancer himself, the answer lies in a number of key areas. Firstly, and this may seem counterintuitive, the freelancer should not undersell themselves. Don't offer to work for minimum wage in the hopes that this will attract more business. While one might think this will attract customers looking to get a job done for as little as possible, it can actually put potential clients off. After all, if someone offered you a new iPhone for $50, you would assume there was something wrong with it. It is no different with freelance services. Set a high standard and a price which reflects this. Godin also stresses the need for freelancers to leave their comfort zones. Many freelancers will become freelancers for the very simple reason that they want to continue working in a field they are used to. For instance, many freelance editors have become editors as publishing houses have outsourced their editing work in recent years, and the editors they once employed full-time have suddenly found themselves working as freelancers. While Godin stresses that such a determination to stay working at what one likes is wholly understandable, the freelancer must also be willing to adapt, adjust, and find new opportunities as they present themselves. Finally, Godin emphasizes the need to always give your best as a freelancer. It may be tempting to do just enough to finish the brief or lower your standards when dealing with repeat customers, but the successful freelancer should approach every job like it's the first of a really innovative new project. In doing so, the energetic freelancer will always stand out from the crowd. How to blog. Many internet trends have come and gone in the blink of an eye over the past 20 years. Not so with blogging. Blogging became a very popular way of expressing one's ideas and thoughts with people all over the world from very early on in the digital revolution, and it has never lost that attraction. Today, there are all kinds of blogs on the internet, from lifestyle blogs showcasing travel, food, and culture, to business blogs discussing economics, industry, and global markets. Seth Godin, the marketing guru, runs one of the most popular blogs out there today, one which logs an average of over 500,000 readers per month. Unsurprisingly, his readership is highly diverse, with a strong following from freelancers and marketers to white-collar workers and market strategists, each of whom are looking to better boost their earning potential and expand their businesses by learning from one of the best in the modern industry. But what can we learn from Godin about the art of blogging itself? First and foremost, Godin stresses that the number one rule of hosting one's own blog is to write regularly, revise, and then repeat. Mistakes are okay. In fact, they're even a good thing when you learn from them and grow as a result. Make sure you pick out the positives and negatives from every post and take the reviews and views into consideration while writing the next post. Godin's second key rule is to make sure you write every day, or nearly every day. Never give up. Every skill requires practice and patience, and nothing worth getting good at is achieved overnight. Hence, if you feel like your writing is not great right now, just keep practicing. Write at least one blog post each day, and you will soon see the improvement. The key is to not let yourself become disheartened. Keep writing, and eventually those views will start to increase. Godin's third key rule is more controversial. Many bloggers allow readers to comment on what they've written. Godin doesn't. The argument here is that leaving readers' comments on your blog can lead to negative comments and heated debates, ones which will rob the blogger of not just his time, but her energy as well. There are many other ideas to keep in mind according to Godin when you've entered the world of blogging. Pay attention to the world around you, and try to find topics that interest people but haven't been discussed a lot. This will make your content stand out. Write about what motivates you and the things which you are interested in. Your writing should reflect your passions, and that will transfer into engaging content. Plan ahead. Always know where your blog is going over the next few weeks, so there is continuity to your threads. And don't dwell on making money from your blog. It is possible to make money through blogging, but if that is the primary goal of your blog, your content might well suffer. Finally, make your blog a reflection of you. It's your space to be creative. Use it as such. Wants versus needs. What are the things that we want? And what things do we actually need? These are two different things, and yet too often today we conflate the two things together. Wants are things which we desire, that we may get a temporary emotional high from, or which would make us happier or more comfortable. But a need is simultaneously more basic and more important. I might want a new 60-inch 4K television, but if I'm being honest with myself, I don't need one. By way of contrast, I don't just want food or water, I need them. And if I don't get them regularly, I wouldn't be alive very long. Seth Godin's work has stressed the distinction between wants and needs. Marketers often confuse the two, but in order to successfully market a product, it is necessary to remember to distinguish between the two. Godin stresses that when a person's actual needs are fulfilled, they are left with their non-vital wants, and that often they begin to conceive of these wants as necessary needs. In this scenario, the individual who has a good job, a comfortable home, and enough money at the end of the week to pay all their bills often begins to take the satisfying of their needs for granted and begins to conceive of their wants as needs. They don't want a sun holiday next summer. They need it. Godin argues that if a business person or entrepreneur can fully understand this cycle, then he or she can tap into it and successfully market her or his product as something which individuals need. In this sense, a marketer can succeed by presenting something which is effectively a want as something which is a need. Modern marketing regularly features this. Products are often advertised by showing you what you are losing out on if you don't have it. The problem created by the lack of this product is then exaggerated before a solution is offered, namely being through acquiring the product. By this means, a want is transformed into a need. Techniques of this kind are particularly prevalent in the beauty industry and the luxury brand sector. Every new generation of phones, for instance, is advertised by explaining what was defective about its forerunners, be it not having a powerful enough battery or not producing the best possible photos. Godin also stresses that people are counterintuitively willing to pay more to fulfill their wants than they are their needs. We are so used to having needs fulfilled in the modern world that we undervalue them, whereas wants are things which we are willing to spend money on to acquire. In the end, our wants ultimately define us, our personality and our way of living. Consequently, targeting your marketing towards fulfilling somebody's wants rather than their needs should be the primary goal of the marketer. He or she is more likely to have a successful product if it appeals to people's wants rather than what they need.